Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Albert Einstein. Hello friends, it's Shan here. Welcome back to Golf with Shan. In today's video, we are headed to the Trackman simulators to see just how fast I can swing my driver. I have never done this before. For the most part, when I practice, I try to swing up to the point where I know I can still keep it straight and in bounds. So that applies for the practice sessions and on the golf course. I will never, I would say, send it 100% or even try to go to push my limit on how fast I can swing the golf club, because at that point, I think it's not worth it if the ball goes out of bounds more often. The main reason I'm doing this challenge for myself is really to just see how much I can push in terms of distance. My driver, I would say on the golf course, I hit it about 220 total, but I don't think that is my maximum. Just because a lot of drives, I'm not quite like maximizing the launch angle, the spin. The smash factor is usually below 1.4, which is bad. So in general, I think I'm just not maximizing on this driver, and it's going about the distance of my 3-wood when I hit a good shot, which on the golf course, as long as the ball is still going straight and on the fairway, it's not a big deal, but we all want a little more distance, don't we? And since it's off season right now, I do have a trip coming up very soon, so stay tuned for that. But since we're here in Canada and all I have is the simulators, I'm just gonna go for it. Full send today, let's see what I can get to. Let's go. Before I get started, it's always a good idea to warm up with a few quarter swings and full swings with the pitching wedge and then a mid-iron. I like to build up the momentum before starting to hit a million driver shots. That's coming up. Round 1, going nowhere. In the beginning, I was trying to brute force my driver's swing, and it was going nowhere, pun intended. For my own sanity check, I pulled out my 5-wood, hit a smooth swing, and voila, my 5-wood was going further than my driver. This is actually a very common mistake, believe it or not. Keep watching to see how I fix it, but keep in mind what works for me may not work for you. Study your own swing with a coach. I went into this experiment wanting to focus on ball speed, but after a few more hits, I started to look at the other numbers. Take this swing for example. Ball speed 125.3, carry 190, spin 4,200 for the driver. The very next swing, ball speed 122.7, which is the same as my 5-wood, lol. Smashes lower, but spin was half, low 2000s, and I ended up with more carry, 197, and way more total, 223.6 total distance. To maximize distance, I needed to reduce spin. So I stopped focusing as much on the ball speed. Club head speed is pretty much consistent throughout this video. If you want to focus on that, you can see I was continuously getting very high spin numbers. Frustration was definitely setting in, and I took this as an opportunity to relieve stress. So I hit a few more shots doing absolutely nothing different because I'm insane. Round 2, change. I have the PXG Gen 4 0811X driver, 10.5 degree loft, and club head set to the PXG standard. That's a mouthful. There are 3 spots on the club head with tungsten weights that you can actually adjust and move around. When I got the club fitted, the fitter put the heaviest weight on the heel of my driver to reinforce my heel shots. However, since getting this driver, I have only hit heel shots. The center and the toe of the club face are basically untouched, absolutely clean. That's a problem. I switched the weight to the center forward spot. At first I didn't notice anything, but if you compare it to the first round, I was actually hitting a little more up on the ball, and instead of averaging more than -1 attack angle, I started to hit the ball more neutral. Spin was still kind of ridiculous, until this shot. Do you see the power of low spin, even with very low ball speed? I'm literally sweating. So near the end of round 2, I was standing further away from the ball, and then I feel like I'm like kind of reaching for the ball, and the highest I got was 128, but my battery died. and I didn't notice. So unfortunately we didn't get it, but I will have to do it again in round 3. Give me 2 seconds to rest, and then I'm gonna go again, and hopefully we can hit 130 this time. Round 3, taking a step back. I came into this video with the goal of maximizing ball speed. I wanted to reach 130, which I've done many times before, but we're coming out of winter here. For a lot of you watching, 130 is probably your pitching wedge speed or something, but I'm only 5'2", so I'm setting realistic expectations for myself. The biggest and best change I made during this simulator session was actually taking a step back, figuratively and literally. I learned to look at the full picture and actually step back from the ball. I stood a good 2 inches further from the ball in this session than I did at the beginning of the session, to the point where my normal stance with the club face barely reaches the ball. It felt like I was reaching, it felt a little bit unnatural, but what was the result? I started hitting the center of the club face. I don't know why it took me so long to realize if I was hitting the heel of the club face all this time, I could have just stepped back. Because I am now standing further back, my swing path was also less steep. If you think about it, it makes sense. If you don't think about it, it makes sense too. I started seeing positive attack angles, lower spin, still some high ones, but it was getting better, and faster ball speed. I was so tired at this point. I hit over 100 golf shots with the driver. And even though my body was complete jelly at this point, this was the first point in this session where my driver was going further than my fairway woods. That's a win.
Oh, that could be it. 129.
Get a little more snap.
This is purely for attack angle.
How many more of these can I do today? That was good.
Yeah. Take a break.
I am exhausted. I got some new blisters. I think that's gonna be it. We will head back home and do some analysis because I have a few things to say from what I've learned trying to do this. The other thing is I wish I didn't waste so much energy at the beginning just setting up to the ball wrong, because this setup being incorrect is just such a big factor that automatically negated my entire first round. So yeah, let's head home and I'll tell you guys about what I've learned today. If you are a golf coach or club fitter watching this video, first of all, thank you for watching. And second, I give you full reign to analyze my swing, analyze my statistics, let me know what you see and what you think I can try to improve my driver. One thing that I've noticed is obviously spin rate, I've said, is too high. Launch angle is high. These are things that I've done ever since I started golf. 10 years ago when I was a high school student and actually played in some CJGA tournaments, I had the same issues. I would launch the driver super high, very high spin, often a slightly negative attack angle. So these are not new things for me, they're just driver swing things that I've never fixed. Now I am on a journey to fix it because it's discouraging when my driver goes as far as my 5 would. That's just like, why do I have a driver? You know what I mean? Before I end the video, here is a summary of everything I learned because I think this will actually be helpful for everyone. Number 1, take a look at your setup and your grip before doing anything else with your swing. That was my mistake. I was thinking of all these other things when I was just standing too close to the ball. So setup and grip is the literal beginning of your golf swing. Make sure you have those correct before you start trying to tweak everything else. Second thing I learned, speed isn't everything. As I've proven in this video, I can have a golf swing with a much higher speed, ball speed or club head speed, and the ball is not going to travel further. Now on average, if I am swinging at 129 versus 122, the ball's gonna go further. That's how math works. But there are a lot of other things to look for. For example, if I had a lower spin on a drive, it's gonna travel further. If I had less launch angle, it's gonna travel further. This is basic physics, but basically, speed is not everything. Which leads me to the third point, and that is work smart, not hard. When I was first off just brute forcing, hitting repeated shots, doing the exact same thing, and putting all of my effort into the shot, it didn't make the result any better. When you hit the center of the club face, it feels easy. I remember Tiger Woods said in a video where he basically has 2 rules to golf. 1 is always hit the center of the club face, and 2 is no 3 putts. If you can do those 2 things, you're pretty good at golf. But those are 2 things that a lot of us need to work on. And final point, jumping off of work smart, not hard, is to get proper technology. I will admit the driver that I have right now, the PXG Gen 4 driver, is not my favorite. It wasn't an improvement from my previous driver that I had since high school with a ladies flex on it, so I don't think this is the best fitted driver for me. Now, if you've watched my videos, you know I am not one to blame the equipment first. I always say focus on yourself, your own swing before you start spending more money on equipment, and it really depends on if I want to spend another $800 on a new driver, which right now I'm not. That is one thing that I will point out, is getting properly fitted equipment will improve your golf game, your results, probably your distance and accuracy as well. Don't skimp on the technology, but make sure to fix yourself before you just start throwing money at the problem. That's gonna be all for today's video. Again, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed it. Hopefully this video was somewhat helpful and enjoyable for you. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! P.S. I am currently packing and getting ready to leave Canada, so hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Okay, bye!